Welcome to Be Me with Shari Ware, the podcast where each day is a step towards a better you and where we focus on progress, not perfection. Join me as we embark on a journey of self-improvement and wellness, focusing on being just a little better than we were yesterday. Hello. Welcome to episode 40 of the Be Me podcast. My name's Shari Ware. I'm your host. And in this episode, we are talking about simple chemical-free swaps for everyday self-care. Mahatma Gandhi said it perfectly. It is health that is real wealth and not pieces of gold and silver. And that's so true. It doesn't matter how much money you've got. If you don't have your health, you are not going to enjoy your life. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to enjoy our life. So chemical-free swaps. Why go chemical-free? Why is it important? Some easy and practical swaps that you can make, and making it simple and fun. So why? Our why drives everything. And I find for myself, if I know why I'm doing something, it makes it so much easier to do, especially if it's something that feels really big and overwhelming and hard. So this is why. Back in about 2016, I came to the realization that some of those, or actually a lot of the products that they put on our grocery shelves actually aren't good for us. Up until then, I hadn't really thought about it, to be quite honest. I just assumed, silly me, that if they could put it on our grocery shelves, then it must be okay for us. Well, no, that is not the case. And there is a lot of products on our grocery shelves that actually have toxic ingredients in them. Now, you may think, okay, well, it's just a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and that's not so bad. And I've used these things for many, many years, and I haven't got any effects from it. Well, I liken it to a jug underneath a dripping tap. Now, the jug might be a sizable jug, and the tap might be dripping just one small drip every 30 seconds or so. Now, imagine if you left that jug there. It would take a very long time for that jug to fill up. But eventually, if you left it there for long enough, it would fill up and it would actually overflow. And this is what happens to the body. So that's why in this day and age, we're starting to see people, or we have started to see people in the last 10, 20 years or so, get more and more autoimmune diseases, mental health issues, all of these things. And a lot of people haven't made the connection. But a lot of times it's because of the exposure to chemicals, more and more chemicals over time. So it's like the jug and the dripping tap. It might take, 30, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years for the impact to actually manifest in the body. But eventually, a lot of times it does if you are being exposed, if you have had too much exposure. And products these days are so different to what they were 50 years ago. So this is why this has started happening in the last 10, 20 years. And if we don't do something to reduce the amount of chemicals, it will just get worse and worse. So you will find that a lot of the products on the grocery shelves will contain hidden toxins, things that will affect your skin, your health, and your overall well-being. So making small swaps can reduce the exposure. It can seem really overwhelming. When I first came to this realization, I actually didn't do anything for a long time because I was just so overwhelmed. I was just like, I don't even know where to start. It seems too hard. It took me a while to pull my head out of the sand, and eventually I did. And I started with my water because I knew I drank a lot of water and I needed a better water source. So it's up to you where you start. But I would just say, just remember the steps formula. And starting small. There's no start that is too small. In fact, the smaller the better. And look at things like just replacing one product at a time. It doesn't matter which one it is. It's about progress, not perfection. So check that perfectionist hat at the door. Any step in the direction of better is progress. So You also want to be looking at your water. You want to be looking at your skincare. It's not just what we put in our body, it's what we put on our body. It's our environment, it's our cleaning products, it's all of those things, which is why it can seem so overwhelming. But just bring it back to, I'm just going to make one swap at a time. You can either look for better options in the grocery store, or you could start to make your own, which is a really great thing to do. And that can make it fun too, especially when you think about, Christmas or birthdays and things like that. Making something that is healthy and it's homemade and it's made with thought and love can make you feel really good, and also make the person you're giving it to feel really good too. It's really special. So if this is something that you want to start making your own, I have actually created a chemical-free starter kit blueprint. And there's 2 editions. There's just the base blueprint, and then there's a plus edition. The plus edition I actually released this just before Christmas last year, and the plus edition has a beautiful extra of some special self-care products that you can make, including labels for your jars and things like that, has ingredients and all the instructions to go with it. And the base starter kit blueprint has everything that you need to get started. It gives you a list of all of the equipment that you need, gives you some recipes for some everyday household cleaners that you use in your home to get you started. Makes everything a checklist that you can check it all off and take it one step at a time and make it super easy for you. So I'll make sure that you have links to those in the show notes. And I'll also direct you to the written edition of this episode, which is Be Me Bites 38, Small Changes, Big Impact, Chemical-Free Self-Care for the Holidays, because as I said, I released this just before Christmas. I thought that it would be something really nice for people to be able to make some homemade things for their loved ones. And as an ethical bribe, if you subscribe to Be Me Bites, you get an online copy of any of my books for free, and when you subscribe, you'll get an email that tells you how to claim that. So until the next episode, keep taking one step at a time. Remember, just one swap at a time. You've got this. And remember also, it's about progress, not perfection. I know I harp on these things, but it's so important to give yourself a break and give yourself the gift of making one small swap at a time. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Remember to check out the show notes, and if you have any comments, feedback or suggestions, I'd love to hear them. If you've received value from this podcast, make sure to subscribe, and I'd love you to rate and review the show. Have a fabulous day.